Formwork failure can result in concrete blowouts, falling formwork components or structural collapse, and has the potential to cause death or serious injury. Formwork failures are often caused by formwork not being designed by a competent person, formwork not being constructed in accordance with the formwork design or specifications, on-site modifications to formwork due to site conditions not addressed in the design, damaged or substandard formwork components being used, removal of formwork before the concrete achieves adequate strength, and overloading of the formwork during concrete pouring. Formwork can be constructed to meet a custom design produced by a competent person, or a proprietary system can be used in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations.
Let's talk safety.
With changing designs and the increased demand for concrete structures, what was once considered to be conventional formwork can now have a major impact on the safety of workers. However, falls during the construction of conventional formwork can be avoided. Let's have a look at some ways of managing those risks. A well-planned job means you prepare before work commences, and this will protect all workers at the site during the construction of conventional formwork. Working in with other trades and the principal contractor can help you secure a safe workplace and reduce the potential of injury to workers during the construction of conventional formwork.
Planning is very important. When we get to site and when we talk to our foremen on site and talk to other trades on sites, the main questions we ask is, do we have our handrails? Do we have our catch sticks? Do we have our penetration covers? We try and work together as a team to try and eliminate any falls. We set up exclusion zones. For me, the three most important key factors in the exclusion zones is, one would be awareness, so other people on site not to tamper with or to stay away from that area. Number two would be materials getting tampered with, so we know if someone's been tampering with our materials or making it unsafe. And number three would be preventing people from walking in and getting struck by a falling object. So that's why good planning is very important, because we all need to come home at the end of the day.
Edges around the lift shafts, stairwells and plywood infields are required on the deck and are often neglected. This can lead to unprotected areas where workers can fall. Working in a progressive manner can prevent multiple leading edges and the risk of falls. Using a planned system of work prevents falls. A guardrail needs to be able to ensure that it protects a person from falling. A guardrail installed to the Australian standards will meet this criteria. There are several different systems engineered and designed that meet these standards. If it's not constructed properly, then it's not safe. Remember, falls can be prevented by planning and coordinating trades, working from below, covering all penetrations, and guarding edges. If you see any safety issues that concern you, speak with your supervisor or contact SafeWork New South Wales on 13 10 50 or visit our website safework.nsw.gov.au. Remember, fall prevention deserves your attention.
Safe work method statements must be developed for all high-risk construction work that forms any part of the formwork erection, concrete pouring and formwork stripping processes. SWIMS assist employers and employees to consider the hazards and risks associated with the high-risk construction work and choose effective control measures. Erecting formwork. Ensure a competent person produces a formwork design capable of supporting the expected dynamic and static loads. Where proprietary formwork systems are used, ensure they are erected in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations. Where a custom design is used, including and combining different formwork systems or using proprietary systems outside the manufacturer's recommendations, ensure the design is completed by an engineer experienced in formwork design. Inspect formwork components before use. Remove defective components from service and tag them out for disposal or repair. Australian Standard 3610, Formwork for Concrete, provides component inspection criteria. Before other trades access the formwork or the concrete is poured, ensure the erected formwork is inspected by a competent person to ensure it has been erected in accordance with the formwork design. The competent person should document the inspection and sign off the formwork as ready for use. If the erected formwork does not comply with the formwork design, alter the formwork so it does comply with the design. Or, ensure the designer inspects the formwork and verifies the changes don't compromise the structural integrity of the formwork. Pouring concrete. Ensure the structural integrity of the formwork has been verified before starting the concrete pour. Establish an appropriate exclusion zone to prevent people accessing the area under the formwork during the concrete pour and maintain the zone until the concrete reaches adequate strength. Monitor the formwork during the concrete pour to identify any early signs of failure. The monitors should not access areas under the formwork unless a risk assessment has been undertaken to determine it is safe to do so. Ensure the formwork is not overloaded during the concrete pouring operation. Stripping formwork. Ensure the concrete has achieved minimum strength before formwork removal. This may be achieved by ensuring the minimum curing time specified in the formwork design has been achieved, or receiving appropriate certification following concrete specimen testing. Stripping of formwork should be carefully planned and carried out in strict accordance with methodology.
Let's talk safety.
Did you know that falls from height is the #1 cause of death and one of the biggest causes of permanent disability in concrete construction when working with formwork? But these injuries can be avoided. Let's look at some safe ways to erect formwork and prevent falls. The best way to avoid falls while erecting formwork is to plan ahead and work from below.
I guess when before we erect formwork safely, it's all about selecting the right system for the job. It's horses for courses. So in the scenario upstairs on site today, we're using a prop and panel system. We use a 3-man crew. We have 2 men lifting the panels up into position, while the 3rd member will be placing the props underneath. This system, all the work is done from ground level, and it eliminates the risk of falling. This system is better than other systems, or the old style or conventional style, what we call it, in that there's no need for a worker to put himself at height and at risk of falling.
Falls from formwork decks commonly occur around open penetrations and unprotected edges. You need to ensure that penetrations are covered and that the covers are securely fixed and clearly marked. This will stop anyone falling through. When you build guardrails, make sure they are sufficient height and strength. A guardrail needs to be able to withstand the force outlined in Australian standards. If it is not constructed properly, then it's not safe. Remember, falls can be avoided by working from below, covering penetrations and guarding edges. If you see a safety issue that concerns you, speak with your supervisor or contact SafeWork New South Wales on 13 10 50 or visit our website safework.nsw.gov.au. There are currently more than 6,000 people working in the concrete construction industry. Any of these people could potentially be affected by a devastating injury from falls or falling objects. But these injuries can be avoided. Let's look at safe ways to strip formwork. The best way to strip formwork is to develop a systematic method to release and lower components in a controlled manner. Do not drop strip.
The process of stripping formwork, it is dangerous due to the nature of lots of material being passed down, stacked. There's a risk of nails poking out of the timbers, and there is also, I guess, the greatest risk of an uncontrolled collapse of the formwork system while stripping. We prevent an uncontrolled dropping of formwork by systematically dismantling the formwork. First of all, we will set up our platforms, make sure we've got a minimum of 3 planks under our feet. The system we use has a purpose-made platform which actually fit within the frames. We will stand on top of those planks, loosen the heads, the U-heads we call them, lower the bearers, and just go through the systematic dismantle approach. We further control the safety while we're stripping by means of cleaning up and stacking the material that has been stripped. It is important that we can get out of our area should someone hurt themselves. It's important to maintain access ways into the area in the unfortunate incident that someone hurts himself.
Use temporary platforms to minimise the risk of falls when stripping and to ensure there is adequate lighting. Protect workers from falling objects by setting up exclusion zones and installing warning signs. You should also be aware of any gaps or penetrations that might appear once the formwork is stripped and fix them immediately. Major injuries in concrete construction also come from trips and falls on the same level. By using some practical measures such as stacking material as it is stripped and storing it away from doors and walkways, these risks can be avoided. Remember, injuries can be avoided by simple measures such as stripping and lowering formwork components in a controlled manner, using temporary platforms to reach U-heads, bearers and joists, and setting up exclusion zones when formworkers are working overhead or stripping decks. If you see a safety issue that concerns you, speak with your supervisor or contact SafeWork New South Wales on 13 10 50 or visit our website safework.nsw.gov.au.
Work safe, home safe.